Since the government announced this complete lockdown of all sites, there's been an awful lot of discussion about how we should be handling it, either in terms of accounting for extensions of time, accounting for loss of productivity in the close down process, and the ramping up once things come back to normal. And my view is that basically contractors should be getting on the front foot with this and trying to illustrate the likely effect on productivity and putting that straight in front of the client so that you can open a negotiation on a fair and reasonable basis to gauge the likely effect. You can follow it up later with a true effect, but at least you're trying to make some attempt to actually get a handle on what the situation is going to be. Now, I made a video a few days ago about how to load the COVID-19 lockdown period into your program. How basically I'm advising my clients to go with the process in terms of showing a reduction in efficiency on site and what's the likely effect going to be returning to full efficiency following the shutdown. Now, obviously, things are not going to come back to normal immediately, and there's going to be a period where efficiency is going to be reduced because not everybody is going to be ready to remobilize day one. The demand on subcontractors is going to be horrendous because everybody is going to want the subcontractors on their site. So it is obviously going to take time to come back to normal. Now, you can either wait until the client comes up with a solution and says, well, here's how I see it, but I think it's far better to get on the front foot and then go to the client and say, look, this is how we see things are likely to happen, and use it as a door opener to a fair and reasonable discussion and a negotiation as to the best way to handle the terms of it. So this is how I'm handling it. It's not the be all and end all. It's my opinion. But I'm showing you how to put all of these reduced efficiencies into the program. Now, the scale of the inefficiency is debatable and is purely adaptable, and it can be adapted afterwards once you actually get a handle onto it too. Now, the image that I've been putting up here is basically how I'm looking at it, in that in New Zealand, the government made an announcement on the 23rd of March that as of the 26th of March, everywhere would be closed. So at that point, all sites went into a mad scramble to prepare for a month close down and make the site safe, etc. So production went out of the window. So on that basis, I'm assuming that at best, there would have been a 25% efficiency on site for those 3 days. Following that, obviously after the site's closed, I'm assuming again another 25% efficiency, at least for the first week, coming back as things start to trickle back. Then I think it will sort of even out for a few weeks. So I'm working on the assumption of 50% efficiency, and then in the fourth week up to 75% efficiency before finally getting back to full normal. Now, as I say, these are purely arbitrary in terms of just trying to get an overall realistic sort of reasonable view, and just forming a basis for a discussion point with a client. But anyway, this is how I do it. So the program you're looking at now is just a short program that I put together for the demonstration. As you can see, it's fully linked, it's fully resourced, so it's a fully comprehensive program and is only running out for a short period of time. Now, to show you how we deal with the lack of efficiency, initially I'm going to make a few changes just to show you the effect, and I'm going to do it with this first task here, just to show you how I'm going to actually set. In this case, if this is a 5-day task, I'll set it to a 50% efficiency, which means essentially this 5-day job will take 10 days. And I'll show you how to do it just with this one task so you can clearly see how it works. And then I'll go on to do the whole thing. So the way we control it is by altering the working time through the day. So if I go into change working time and pull this up, essentially this job is a 5-day job. Working at 50% efficiency, it will take 2 weeks. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set the working time for 2 weeks, this first 2 weeks, as being 4 hours a day. And so what I'm going to do is make edited working hours section. So if I call it 50% efficiency, I'll just call it 50% just for speed. And we're going to run it from this job starts on the 2nd of March, and the job actually runs running through would be to the following Friday at 50%. So set 2nd of March, and we're running through to the end of the following week, which is Friday the 13th of March, and then go into the details tab here. And the normal working times for the site are 8 hours a day. I'm going to take away half of that. That gives me 50% efficiency. So effectively the site for this 2 weeks only works for 4 hours a day. So that runs from the 2nd of March, and I need to set the parameters for when it runs. At the moment it's just running through daily. I need to press this button here, the weekly button, and set the working time for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. If I don't do that, this reduced working time will override the non-working time, because I'm now setting up a period of time where things are changed to the norm. So if I weren't to do this, it would calculate 4 hours working time for Saturday and Sunday as well. So I have to be specific. Now, then moving down to the range of the occurrence from the 2nd of March, and I need to set the date when I want it to end, which is the 13th of March. And you can see then it's 10 occurrences. So I click OK, and then OK there. Then straight away you see this is now run out to 10 days work. And if I pull up another window just to show the details, this window can show a number of things. At the moment it's set to showing work, and looking at this task you can see resource 1, it's a 40-hour job. In other words, it's 4 hours a day over 10 days. So it basically is showing I haven't actually changed the amount of work to be done. All I've done is reduce the efficiency and double the length of time. Now if I just basically reverse that, which I can either just Control Z and go back a couple of steps, takes it back out. Okay, so now we'll get into doing it for real on the program, taking all the events into account. So into the project tab, into change working time, and first thing I'll do is put in the COVID-19 close downs. Now you notice in here I've actually got Easter. If I were to put in the close down running from the 26th of March through to the 22nd of April, which is the 4-week lockdown, that would clash with Easter and I'll start getting messages. So what I've actually got to do is put it in as 2 sections, one before Easter and one after. So if I type it in as COVID-19 1, and the date range that that's going to work from is Thursday the 26th of March up until the day before Good Friday. Good Friday is on the 10th, so we want it to the 9th. And then I'll just call it COVID-2 will be from the day after Easter Monday, and Easter Monday is the 13th of April, so we want it from the 14th of April through till the Wednesday, which is the 22nd of April. And cancel, click OK on that, and then you can see straight away now I've got non-working time in for that month. Now back into changing the working time, and the first thing I'll do is put in 25% efficiency for the ramp down. This is the closing of the site beforehand, which essentially the government made the announcement on the 23rd of March, which is the Monday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be affected by the ramp down because basically the sites will close on Thursday. So back into March, so it would be 23rd to the 25th, and we change the details for those days. As before, reduce it. In this case, I'm not just going to reduce it by 4 hours, I'm actually going to take it down to a 2-hour working, being 25% of an 8-hour day. And again, as before, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and we want it to end on the 25th of March, being there. So 3 occurrences, 3 days. Click OK on that. So that's now logged in. And then same 25% when the site starts back for the first week. So 25% ramp up. and that is going to start the week or the day that the site's officially are supposed to reopen. Obviously, if the lockdown lasts longer, then you just adjust the working time for non-working days to extend out until it actually finishes, and make these changes accordingly to the actual calendars. But on the assumption we start back on the 23rd of April, and then we would work for a week at 25% efficiency, takes us from the 23rd of April to Wednesday the 29th of April. And same thing, into working time, reduce it to 2 hours. And again, affects Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we want it to end by starting back on the 23rd, we want it to end by the 29th. Next one then, I'm assuming there would be roughly 2 weeks of 50% efficiency, so 50%, and that would run from basically the 30th of April, being the Thursday, would run for 2 weeks. So from the 30th of April into April takes us to the 13th of May, into the details, and change it to a 4-hour working day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and end by Wednesday, 13th of April. And then final 75% will run from the 14th of May and will run through to Wednesday being the 20th of May. So into details, and this now is going to be changed to a 6-hour working day, which means we changed the 5 p.m. finish to 3 p.m. so we've got a 6-hour working day. Once again, for the last time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and 14th of May. Now you notice before I've always been just going to the date. I can actually just say basically this is 5 days. Same thing, as I say, I was putting the dates in here just to be clear about the dates, but here we go. And so that now has affected 25% ramp down the 3 days before, 25% ramp up for the first week, 50% for the following 2 weeks, 75% for the 4th week, and then after that we're back to normal. Now as soon as I hit OK, and we can see the effect here now, the deadline date was here, which was the original 6th of July, and this is now running through to the 31st of the 7th, so 31st of July. If I just quickly insert a column here that shows total slack, because I've put it in as a deadline, it's calculating the effect on path as being 19 days on program. Now, given that there was quite a lot of ramp up and ramp down there, the effect on program is actually not too bad, even allowing for the ramp down. And that literally is as easy as it is. As I say, it's easy to change out the COVID lockdown period. You can change the ramp up and ramp down to suit whatever you actually negotiate to, but at least you're making the attempt to try and get a realistic or reasonable view of what's likely to happen. Actually, one other thing I should mention before I go is that you notice that all of this is now showing as critical. The reason that's all now showing as critical is because I put this deadline in at the first place, and essentially it's telling me everything is running after the deadline, so it's showing critical. If I actually take out the deadline by double clicking on it, and in the advanced tab, you see I've got a deadline in here. If I remove the deadline, you'll get a true critical path. And here's my true critical path running through.